Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this tutorial series, we are creating this reaction time test using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now in the previous video, we created the basic functionality of this project. So if I click on this screen, we can see we have the red color displayed and we have to wait for the green color. And now if we click on this green color, we have the reaction time displayed over here. And if I click once again, we can continue and play this game again. Now in this video, we'll complete this project. So we'll display the average reaction time at the end, maybe like 3 or 4 times. And we will display the end screen over here. So let's get started. Now the first thing we will do is we will code the functionality of the too soon screen. So if I go to the original design and if I click over here and if I click too soon, it will display this screen over here and it says too soon, click to start. So first of all, let's write this functionality. So let's go back to our JavaScript file. Now we need to create a variable for that. So let's create a variable called waiting for green. And we'll set the variable to false by default. So let's start waiting for green equals false. Now let's scroll down and let's go to the clickable area. And here let's add one more if condition. So let's type if waiting for green is true. So here we'll call a function called display too soon. So let's type display too soon. And let's create this function. So I'll just create this function over here. Let's type const display too soon. And the first thing we will do is we will set the background color. So let's type clickable area dot style dot background color equals, and let's set it to FAF0CA, and let's set the text of the message. So let's type message dot inner HTML equals too soon, click to continue. And we'll also set the color of the text to dark color. So let's type message dot style dot color equals 111. Right now we need to set the waiting for start variable to true, and we'll also stop the timer. So let's type clear timeout. And here let's type timer, which is the name of the timer over here. Now what we need to do is we need to set the waiting for green variable to true in the start game, because when we start the game we are waiting for the green color to be displayed after some time. So let's type waiting for green to true. Right now let's go back and let's test it out. Let's also open the console. Right now let's click on the main menu, and if I click too soon, we have the too soon screen displayed over here. And if I click again, it starts again. And if I click too soon, the too soon screen will be displayed. And if I wait for the green color to appear, then we have the reaction time displayed over here. So the too soon screen is working all right. Right now the next thing we will do is we will store all the scores inside an array. And when we have a specific amount of scores, we'll just display the end screen with the average reaction time. So let's go back and let's create an array. So I'll just create an array with the name of scores. And let's set it to an empty array over here. Now let's go ahead and add the reaction times inside the scores array. So let's scroll down. And here in the display reaction time function, we will add the scores. So here let's type scores. And we have a function called push for the arrays, and we can add new items into the array using this push function. So let's add this reaction time which we are getting into this function. So let's type RT over here, and first of all let's console.log the scores and let's see whether everything is working alright. So I'll just display the scores array. Right now let's go back to our website and let's check it out. And here we can see we have 348 milliseconds reaction time, and it is stored inside this array. Let's try it once more. And now we can see this is the reaction time, 382 milliseconds, and it is also stored inside this array. So here we can see there are 2 items in the array. Right now let's go back to our code, and here we will add an if condition. So let's type if scores.length, and we'll just check the length and we'll see whether it is greater than or equal to 3. Now you can add any number over here. So if you want the user to play it 5 times before the end screen is displayed, then you can just type 5 over here. I'll just type 3, and here we'll call a function called endGame, and let's create the function over here. So let's type const endGame. Now here what we need to do is we need to display the end screen. So if you go back to our HTML file, here we have created this division with the class of end screen, and if you add the active class to the end screen, it will be displayed. So if you go to the style.css file, here we can see we have added the styles. So when we have the active class, the display is set to grid. Otherwise, by default, it is set to none. So let's go to our main.js file and let's add the active class to the end screen. So first of all, let's reference it. So here I'll just type const end screen equals document.querySelector end screen, and let's scroll down and let's add the active class to the end screen. So here let's type end screen dot class list dot add active, and we'll also stop the timer. So let's type clear timeout timer. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to calculate the average score. So let's create a variable called total, and I'll just set it to 0. Right now let's loop through each of the items inside the scores array. So let's type scores dot for each, and I will call each of the individual scores s, and let's create an arrow function. And here we just need to add each of the scores to the total variable. So let's type total plus equals s. So now it will add the first score, and then the second score will be added to the first score, and so on. So we will have a total of all the scores over here inside this total variable. Now let's create a variable for the average score. So let's type let average score equals total divided by the length of the array, which is 3. So I'll just type scores.length, and we'll also round it so that we don't have any decimal points. So let's type math.round. Right now, first of all, let's display the values inside the console so that we can see everything is calculated correctly. So let's type console.log, and we'll just type total, and here let's type total, and we'll also display the average score. So let's type console.log average score and average score. Right now let's test whether this works. So let's go back and let's click on this main menu, and this is the first score. Let's click again, and this is the second score. Let's click again, and now we can see after 3 times the total is displayed over here, and also the average score is displayed over here. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to display the average score over here, and we also need to make the play again button work. So let's go back and let's go to our HTML file, and here we can see inside the end screen we have this division with the class of reaction time text, and we need to add the average score over here, and we also need to reference this play again button in our JavaScript. So let's reference these 2 elements, reaction time text and play again button. So here I'll just type const reaction time text equals document.querySelector reaction time text, and let's type const play again button equals document.querySelector end screen, and here let's type play again button, and here also I'll just type end screen. Right now let's scroll down, and here in the end game function let's type reaction time text dot inner HTML equals, and let's use backticks, and let's add the variable over here. So let's type $symbol curly braces, and let's type average score milliseconds. Right now let's add the functionality of the play again button. So let's scroll down and let's type play again button dot add event listener, and here we'll just type click, and let's create an arrow function. And here first of all we need to remove the active class from the end screen. So let's type end screen init.classList.remove active, and next we will call the init function so that we have all the default values for the variables, and we'll also call the start game function. Right now let's test and see whether everything works alright. So let's click on this main menu, and the too soon screen is working alright. Right now we can see that the average score is displayed over here. Let's also click on play again. And now we can see the play again button is also working alright. So that's basically it with the functionality of this reaction time test. Now the last thing we will do is we'll just remove all these console logs from here. So let's go back and let's delete all these console logs from our code. Right now if you go back, we can see everything is working alright. Alright, so that's basically it with the functionality of the reaction time test. And that's it for this video. I will leave the link of the source code in the description. And if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.